Eddie Hearn breaks his silence and says that Devin Haney and Ryan Garcia lost motivation because of money. Money. So in this video, I'm going to break it down and let you know what Eddie Hearn said regarding the two fighters. What does this really mean? And give you guys, of course, the ego thoughts, which is what you came here for. Let's work. Eddie Hearn, in a brand new interview with Fight Hype, he says, quote, "There's an element of fighters being overpaid, and once you start making money, do you really want to put yourself physically in the trenches when your lifestyle is now fantastic?" Maybe that's what it is. He goes on to say, "I think it's impossible to have the same warrior mindset when you made a load of money and now that you're in a 10-bedroom house or mansion," right? He says, and you've got 3 Ferraris. The fighters are like, "I don't really want a war. Why would I want a war? No, thank you." Ryan Garcia is a million miles away from fighting from a world title at the moment, especially coming off of defeat. He's also making a lot of money. He's thinking, "I'm good." You'll probably see him disappear at some point, go and do a bit of acting or chill out in California somewhere and just enjoy. Sometimes the game takes their love away. Ryan is probably in the spot where he's like, "I've had so much ish, I don't even like boxing anymore, but obviously it's great money, so what's next?" Devin is there now, and Devin was never there. He was all about the belts and all about achievement. Then I think the Ryan Garcia fight really disheartened him, the whole experience. And I think now he just thinks, I could care less about belts. Let me make my money and then I'm done. That's what makes you deteriorate as a fighter. Now, none of this sounds good for either fighter. Ryan Garcia, I don't have too much to say. He's never fought for a world title, or correction, he's never won a world title. The Rolly fight, I guess, was for a secondary title. Tank fight didn't have one. Devin fight, he missed weight. So Ryan didn't have the standard, I guess, of a Devin Haney who had been undisputed and kind of said he was trying to be the next Mayweather, that kind of thing. And the big thing here is Eddie Hearn actually promoted for Devin Haney before. So for Eddie to say these comments about Devin Haney, not so good. And it's not good for either fighter, let's be clear. But the person who was on a different path, and like, let's just, this is an extreme analogy, but I want you guys to feel me. Let's say you have 2 guys and one person always did drugs, or as long as you can remember, they were smoking cigarettes and drinking, right? If you find out that they're abusing substances, it wouldn't be a shock if you know them for that, right? Again, Ryan has never been a champion before. So at the end of the day, we don't know him for that. He's never been a champion. He's been a popular fighter who says at different times he wants to be a champion, then he don't want to be a champion, and so on and so forth. So Devin Haney, he was on a different path. He was on the path where he's like, I want legacy. I want to prove I'm not the email champion, things like that. So for Eddie Hearn to be saying this about him, and again, he worked with him, that's pretty extreme. He's basically saying that Devin did a 180 and he was so disheartened and jaded from the Ryan Garcia fight and how that played out, where now he's probably like, I just want to make my money and I'm out. Very, very bad mentality for a sport like boxing. I think to a degree, you'd have a better career if a bit of you loves it. Now, there's obviously grueling training and hard parts about it, but overall, I think you have to like it. One thing Eddie Hearn said that is cap is, quote, I think it's impossible to have the same warrior mindset when you made a load of money. That's cap. And have a 10-bedroom house. If Floyd Mayweather didn't exist, then you could say that. But the fact that I could think of several fighters who always fought and had warrior mindsets late, despite how much money they made, right? De La Hoya had a great resume. You have Bernard Hopkins. You have Andre Ward. You have Floyd Mayweather. You have a lot of guys that Marvin Hagler, they all did very well for themselves, extremely well, made a lot of money. And Lennox Lewis is another guy, and they never lost that passion. So it's cap to say it's impossible when I can think of people who have done it. Now, this new generation, I don't think they're built the same as mentally as some of the fighters from yesteryear. The training, I think it's just we're in a different culture. And I think that's more or less what you're seeing. You're seeing that people in today's society are a bit lazy. They don't want it the hard way. When the going gets tough, they get going. Versus the Sonny Listons and Haglers and guys like that, they were built different. They were built to a point where they were just tougher mentally and physically. Just think, how many fighters in today's market would you really say could do 15 rounds with smaller gloves? I can't think of many fighters that I would think they would have a great resumes and great victories if 15 rounders with smaller gloves still existed. So it's definitely doable to keep your mind locked despite making money, but it takes something from the fighter. But it takes a certain personality trait or mindset that you have to go in there with. And bottom line, it sounds like Eddie Hearn doesn't believe Ryan or Devin has that. Very bad. Because, and here's the other problem. Your boy Ego Stradamus strikes again. I am the best in the business and it's not even close. You have Turkey, who's overpaying guys, and they're not really doing anything. They're not going above and beyond. Like Ryan, he didn't talk spicy to Rolly. He didn't like really do much to promote the fight. And then he loses the fight. Devin Haney, Ramirez, none of them really did anything extra to sell the fight. And you're getting paid whatever you're getting paid. This becomes a problem because you got fighters getting overpaid and they're being made promises like Haney Garcia can exist even if you don't perform. Boxing should not run like this. There should be no participation trophies in the world of boxing. I firmly believe that. I live by the credo of if you don't hunt, you don't eat. And that's what boxing should be. Keep these guys to the point where there's incentive. Not like, oh, I'm going to get paid and I'm going to get promised future fights no matter what happens. That boxing should not be in that space where you don't have to perform, you don't have to promote. It just makes for a better sport when both guys are hungry with something to prove. So for Eddie Hearn to be suggesting this is pretty bad. You're saying that money has made them both, for different reasons, lose their ambition, because how do you get it back? You know what I mean? And if anything, like that's what I'm saying, these new fighters aren't built the same. If anything, what happened with Ryan, it's the glass half full or half empty, right? It's just a matter of how you look at it. Yeah, you could be like, oh, he cheated, drug test, woe is me. Or you could take that and then become hungrier. Look at Floyd Mayweather when they robbed him in the Olympics. Look at Roy Jones when they robbed him in the Olympics. Both Floyd and Roy can look at it and be like, hey, I was jobbed in Seoul, Korea for Roy Jones. Or Floyd could be like, they got me, and just give up and just be like, you know what, now I don't care. These judges are all foul. Or they could do what they actually did, which was become legends of the sport and have illustrious careers. So I don't really like this talk, to be honest. Hearn talking about they don't have ambition and they're only fighting for money. You know what I mean? You shouldn't be platformed for that, because there's other boxers on the way up and they're not disenchanted and all that, and they're ready to fight and take on the best, not fight for a paycheck and put up these bad performances that they both put up. Chutch.